It's time for Talkie Shit. And I just want to say that Joe Scarborough from NBC Morning Joe is still supporting Donald Trump after the bigotry. He still supports Donald Trump. After the racism, he still supports Donald Trump. After the xenophobia, Joe Scarborough still supports Donald Trump. After the vicious attack on women recorded with his own colleague Billy Bush, he still supports Donald Trump. Why isn't he being suspended? Why are you suspending Billy Bush for being in the locker room, quote unquote, when all Joe Scarborough wishes is that he would have been on the bus with him? Joe Scarborough acts like he wished he was on the bus with Billy Bush and Donald Trump when they insulted the women. Donald Trump should have given Joe Scarborough a boarding pass on that bus. Morning Joe still supports him. Why isn't Joe being suspended? Why is he openly supporting Donald Trump? He is an ex-congressman, a senator, if you will, and he's still supporting Donald Trump. He is a Republican voice in America's choice for president, and I can't believe that NBC is allowing him to sit there and support this xenophobic, racist KKK representative, Donald Trump. How can Joe continue to support this man? Joe Scarborough supports Donald Trump. He is still supporting this fucking asshole. Joe Scarborough is in the classification of Donald Trump. He supports Mika. How can you sit next to this motherfucker? What in the sociopathic hell is going on over at MSNBC? How in the fuck can somebody have this kind of integrity, this kind of character, or this sundry idea of it? The idea that Joe Scarborough is still supporting Donald Trump after the tapes, after chicanery and the bullshit that's going on in that campaign. How dare Joe get on this morning on October the 11th, 2016, and support this man who is really, really mean. I mean, his demeaning performance toward Hillary, talking down to her like she was, like he moved in on her like a bitch. He moves in on these women like a bitch. He moves in on these women like a bitch. And when he has people like Joe Scarborough supporting him, it feeds the insanity. So all of this shit's coming from NBC. Bill Cosby comes from NBC. Donald Trump comes from NBC. And now all we really can see is what we have to deal with every morning when Joe Scarborough gets his motherfucking ass on the air and supports this asshole. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a setback for NBC. I think NBC ought to be embarrassed. I think it's sad that Billy Bush had to be suspended. I think it's fucked up. I think that Joe Scarborough needs to sit down and take a fucking break. This is ridiculous. I can't believe he still thinks Donald Trump is so great. What a fucking asshole. Water seeks its own level. And this kind of bullshit is ridiculous. This is, how can someone who's on the programming of a major network be on every morning supporting this son of a bitch? Why doesn't he go and work for the fucking Donald Trump campaign like the former CEO of Fox News, rather than coming on every morning on MSNBC telling us about his beautiful ideas of Hillary Clinton's blues? This guy is an asshole. I used to have respect for Joe Scarborough. I met his ass one day at Chipotle in New York City with Mika. We were coming out and I was going in. You know, and I've seen him live and in person, and I'm just appalled at the fact that Joe Scarborough sits here and supports this son of a bitch. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's all the time we have now. I'm DeAndre. Fuck Fox News.